Izmir is a metropolitan city in the western extremity of Anatolia and the third most populous city in Turkey, after Istanbul and Ankara. It is one of the most westernized cities in Turkey. Izmir's metropolitan area extends along the outlying waters of the Gulf of Izmir and inland to the north across the delta of the Gediz River, to the east along an alluvial plain created by several small streams and to a slightly more rugged terrain in the south. The ancient city was known as Smyrna, and the city was generally referred to as Smyrna in English, until the Turkish adoption of the Latin alphabet in 1928 made Izmir the internationally recognized name. The city of Izmir is composed of several metropolitan districts. Of these, Konak district corresponds to historical Izmir, this district's area having constituted the Izmir municipality area until 1984. Konak until then having been a name for a central neighborhood around Konak Square, still the core of the city. With the constitution of the Greater Izmir Metropolitan Municipality, the city of Izmir grouped together initially 9, and more recently 11, metropolitan districts, namely Balkova, Bayrakli, Bornova, Buka, Sigli, Gazimir, Guzulbashi, Karabagla, Karşıyaka, Konak and Narlida. Almost all of these settlements are former separate district centers or neighborhoods, with their own distinct features and temperament. In an ongoing process, the mayor of Izmir was also vested with authority over the additional district area reaching from Bugama in the north to Selçuk in the south, bringing the number of districts considered as being part of Izmir to 21 under the new arrangements. 2 of these having been only partially administratively included in Izmir. In 2014, Izmir had a population of 2,847,691, while Izmir province had a total of 4,113,072. Main features: Izmir has almost 4,000 years of recorded urban history and possibly even longer as an advanced human settlement. Set in an advantageous location at the head of a gulf in a deep indentation midway along the western Anatolian coast, the city has been one of the principal mercantile cities of the Mediterranean Sea for much of its history. Its port is Turkey's primary port for exports in terms of the freight handled and its free zone. The Turkish-US joint venture established in 1990 is the leader among the 20 in Turkey. The workforce, and particularly its rising class of young professionals, is concentrated either in the city or in its immediate vicinity, and as either larger companies or SMEs affirm their names with an increasingly wider global scale and intensity. Politically, Izmir is considered a stronghold of the Republican People's Party. Izmir hosted the Mediterranean Games in 1971 and more recently the World University Games in 2005. A bid submitted to the BA to host the Universal Expo 2015 in March 2008 lost to Milan. Modern Izmir also incorporates the nearby ancient cities of Ephesus, Pergamon, Sardis and Klazomenai, and centers of international tourism such as Kusadasi, Sesma, Mordogan and Foça. When the Ottomans took over Izmir in the 15th century, they did not inherit compelling historical memories. Unlike the 2 other key points of the trade network, namely Istanbul and Aleppo, the emergence of Izmir as a major international port by the 17th century was largely a result of the attraction it exercised over foreigners, and the city's European orientation. Names and etymology. Izmir is a princess with her most beautiful hat. Victor Hugo, Les Orientales. The modern name of Izmir is the Turkish rendering of the original Greek name, Smyrna. In medieval times, Westerners used forms like Smire, Zedmira, Esmira, Ishmira, which was rendered as Izmir into Turkish. originally written as with the Ottoman Turkish alphabet. In ancient Anatolia, the name of a locality called Smyrna is mentioned in some of the level 2 tablets from the Assyrian colony in Tepe, with the prefix T identifying a proper name, although it is not established with certainty that this name refers to modern-day Izmir. The region of Izmir was situated on the southern fringes of the Ortan culture in Anatolia's prehistory, knowledge of which is almost entirely drawn from its cemeteries. In the second half of the 2nd millennium BC, it was in the western end of the extension of the still largely obscure Arzawa kingdom, an offshoot and usually a dependency of the Hittites, who themselves spread their direct rule as far as the coast during their Great Kingdom. That the realm of the 13th century BC local Luwian ruler, who is depicted in the Kemalpazar Karabel rock carving at a distance of only 50 kilometers from Izmir, was called the Kingdom of Myra, may also leave grounds for association with the city's name. The latest known rendering in Greek of the city's name is the Aeolic Greek mu upsilon rho alpha Myra, corresponding to the later Ionian and Attic sigma mu upsilon rho nu alpha or sigma mu upsilon rho nu eta, both presumably descendants of a Proto-Greek form Smyrna. Some would see in the city's name a reference to the name of an Amazon called Smyrna said to have seduced Theseus, leading him to name the city in her honor. Others link the name to the Myrrha comiferae shrub, a plant producing the aromatic resin called myrrh that is indigenous to the Middle East and northeastern Africa, which was the city's chief export in antiquity. The Romans took over this name as Smyrna, which is still the name used in English when referring to the city in pre-Turkish times. In Ottoman Turkish the town's name was Izmir. In English, the city was called Smyrna into the 20th century. Izmir was adopted in English and most foreign languages after Turkey adapted the Latin alphabet in 1928 and urged other countries to use the city's Turkish name.